Here's one of the latest interviews from Rock and Metal Revival. If you want to hear the whole show, go to rmrshow.com. There's brand new music from David Shankle and the David Shankle Group. It's called Still a Warrior, and Jerry, that album is kicking ass.
It's some rockin' stuff,
I
man.
love that tune, and on the phone with us, former MANOWAR guitarist David Shankle. Welcome to the show.
Hey, guys, thanks for having me. All DSG MANOWAR fans out there, thanks for listening in. Glad to be here. How's it going, guys?
Fantastic. It gets better every day when we get great music. And tell us a little bit about the David Shankle Group. We just turned on to your band.
Well, to make a long story short, I was in MANOWAR for just about 7 years, from 88 until the end of 94, going into 95. I did the double platinum CD with them, The Triumph of Steel. I toured in about 29 different countries with them, did a bunch of live videos and DVDs. We did the MANOWAR reunion show in 2005 in Germany, 70,000 people, had all three guitar players, me, Ross, and Carl, and all three various drummers that were ever in the band, from Rhino to Scott Columbus and Donnie Hamzik, and it was really great. Then we went back in 2007 when I had the Hellborn record out on MANOWAR's label. I put 2 records out with them, Ashes to Ashes and Hellborn, after I left the band, went to college at Roosevelt University, got my degree in jazz, classical guitar, music theory. Then I signed a deal with Joey, because we're still brothers of metal, and I put out Ashes to Ashes, which we did a video for that song, and also for all the heroes of 9/11, I did a track called Calling All Heroes, which did very well for us. Then we did the Hellborn record in 2007, and yes, before anybody says anything, it'll be 8 years this July since my last record, but it's out. It's on Pure Steel Records. It's kicking ass. The single's been out for almost 4 weeks. Still a Warrior, available on iTunes, SoundCloud, Amazon.com, CD Baby. The record came out April 24th in Germany, and it's out worldwide as of the 28th, and you can get it on all the online sites and at PureSteelRecords.com directly. There's 10 songs on there, and I'm proud of them. And, there's a couple of little surprises. There's a track on there that's a guitar solo called The Demonic Solo. It's from the movie Jezebeth, produced by Damian Dante, Jeff Swanee from Dark Star Records, and Lloyd Freeze. And they wanted a crazy solo for like 1 minute and 40 seconds to be in the movie, for this girl to act like she's playing guitar and she's a vampire. So they shaved the hair off my arms, painted my fingernails, and they filmed my hands up close playing the demonic solo, and then they dubbed it in on her, and they did a pretty good job. So that turned out pretty well, and then I stood in front of a green screen, and they actually filmed me playing the demonic solo, and it's been up on YouTube and all my sites since the end of 2009, and good news is journalists are starting to hail it as one of, not the, one of the fastest guitar solos out there, and maybe for once Guitar Magazine will recognize that when they put 50 fastest guitar players in there. Maybe it'll finally get noticed. If it doesn't, me, myself, and I, my fans, my students, my friends, they all know what's going on in that solo, and that's good enough for me if I don't get gratification from Guitar World Magazine, but it would be nice,
Yeah,
so we'll see how that goes, guys.
Well, I also saw that online on your website that you do some online instruction on guitar playing.
Yes, I've been teaching professionally for over 20 years, and I've been doing Skype lessons for just about 7 now. If you got high-speed internet connection, a computer, a webcam, I see you in your room, you see me in mine. My lesson books are included in the fee, and anybody can get a hold of me through both my Facebooks, David Shankle 1 or David Shankle 2. We have the DSG Fan official musician page and a David Shankle fan page, and we have a brand new website, which is just www.davidshankle.com, and everything on everybody in my band, all the records I've ever been on, our swag, information, lessons is all you can find out through the website or through my Facebooks.
So do you teach beginners, intermediate, everybody?
Beginners, intermediates to advanced, whatever your level is, I'm there to help you reach your goals and gear you in the right direction.
Music theory?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. How much are these? 'Cause I suck at theory.
Well, Well, it all depends on what you want to learn. For general lessons, it's $130 a month paid to my PayPal, and you get 2 one-hour lessons, and you can be flexible with the lessons, and my books are included in that fee. Some guys out there are charging $250, $300 for 2 lessons. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. It's hard enough times out there for people trying to keep their house and make a mortgage payment, and sometimes they don't want to pay a music teacher lessons for their kids when they're trying to keep a roof over themselves,
Yeah.
So, $130 for 2 one-hour lessons spread out over a month is a fair deal, and my books are included with it.
That sounds like a great deal. Now, David, do you find there's a younger youth movement of people trying to learn these shred techniques and metal guitar?
Yeah, especially these days. Back when I was learning, you didn't have YouTube, you didn't have the internet, you didn't have all the instructional DVDs that are out there now. You could go on YouTube now and pop in killer jazz riffs or super shred arpeggios, and there'll be one of 100 people up there you've never even heard of breaking down cool arpeggios or whatever, depending on the style you want, besides the people that are known. People like myself, Joe Stump, Michelangelo Badio, Rusty Cooley. We're all good friends, and we all have our own kind of instructional things. It's all who you like, who you want to go after, who you emulate, or who you want to take lessons from, because there's something out there for everybody at all levels. And YouTube is a wonderful or a wonderful channel to get your stuff up on there for people to see you play. They didn't have that 20 years ago.
Yeah,
exactly.
Sure. Yeah.
So you teach more than just the drop D tuning.
Yeah, the one-finger chords.
Well, there's a lot of bands doing drop D tunings and they don't even play lead. I teach music theory and shred guitar, classical guitar, jazz, and teach you how to read music and how to understand when you're playing pentatonics or all your modes and scales and arpeggios, how that stuff comes together to where it can make sense, to where you can learn to play lead, 2 chord progressions, and not just sit around and noodle and wank and not be able to play the stuff, to sound good within a band and over a bunch of chord progressions. There's a lot more involved in shredding than just shred. There's learning how to actual shred and understanding how it works at whatever level.
Very cool.
Because I'm a noodler and a wanker.
Well, for all things, there's a first time. I also wanted to mention there's a track I'm proud of on the record called The Hitman. It's an instrumental track, and it features 6 other great guitar players that are friends of mine that I've played on their records several times. They played on mine. I've got Roger Stauffenbach from the band Our Tension back in the Mike Varney days. Great guitar player. I played on his last record called The Pharaoh. Tommy Vitale is a wonderful solo artist overseas. Parker Lundgren, the guitarist from Queensryche, who plays with Michael Wilton, he does a solo on there.
Nice.
T.D. Clark, a good friend of mine from Chicago, I played on 2 of his records. This will be the second one he played on with me. The wonderful Joe Stump, it's his second time performing on a record with me, and Michelangelo Badio. He's got a new record out now, too, called Shred Force 1. He plays on the record, and I played on his second-to-last record called Hands Without a Shadow, too, on a song called On the Double. So we're all good friends, and they're all playing some ripping solos with me on the track called The Hitman.
Well, that's awesome.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to turning that up real
and
lot.
when I send you over the WAV files, you'll have a picture of the album cover, a photo of the band, and a flyer that we're promoting with all the guest artists on it as well, bro.
Sweet.
Oh, awesome. Now, David, any plans on maybe doing a vinyl version of this?
The record company Pure Steel has talked about releasing a limited run of vinyl. We're hoping that may be available in the next 3 or 4 months. We just got the record out, so, Chipster, who's doing a great job promoting and setting up interviews for me, besides the record company, we're getting the record out there to the mass and, and getting feedback and online radio stations, magazines. We just did a brand new photo shoot last Sunday with Dan Minchin, who actually did the album cover for Michelangelo Badio's Hands Without a Shadow, and has done stuff for Anthrax and tons of other great bands as well. So we're getting all those photos together now, so we're going to be releasing with Chipster and the label a handful of new photos of the band and individuals, and plus my new signature line of guitars. I'm with Grossman Guitars out of Romania, and I have the new DS7 and the new DS6 shred machines, and we're coming out later this year with the 6-string and 7-string 31-fret shred machine Flying Vs as well.
31-fret Flying V? Wow.
Yeah, it goes up to high B, and
nice.
I'm working with a company called Madison Amps, a gentleman by the name of Norman Cox. We're building the David Shankle shred head. It's 3 channels of 320 watts of just shred friggin' power, man. So that'll be coming out in a couple of months as well.
Does it go to 11?
It goes to 400.
Nice.
We're way past 11. That's beginner level. We're way up in the stratospheres, 400.
So are there any songs on the new album you think would have benefited from adding some more cowbell?
That would have benefited from cowbell?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Being
Not
a
really. We
metalhead.
might have could have thrown some cowbell in on Glimpse of Tomorrow, but when you hear the song, I think you'll be happy with just the way it is.
Okay.
All right. Well, we want
You know, all the songs on the record are progressive power metal with neoclassical super shred guitar, but my singer, Warren Halverson, for me, is my favorite DS singer to date. And, you know, there's a lot of versatility in the songs, and when I need him to sound like a Dio or him or a Tony Martin or a Don Dokken or a David Coverdale, you'll hear throughout the record where his style of vocals can change and fit those songs. For
Nice.
me, the most radio hooky kinds of songs in a metal way would be any song on the record, but if I wanted to be technical, you got Still a Warrior, Glimpse of Tomorrow, Across the Line, and Suffer in Silence.
All right. Well,
Cool.
I'll tell you
Would
what.
be your closest radio. Everything else is a lot heavier and coming at you more full force, which is what I like to do.
That's what
Yeah.
we're all about.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to play one of the fastest, not the fastest,
But one of
the
fastest.
fastest thrash solos of all time. We're talking about Demonic Solo. And David, you are welcome back on this program anytime.
Okay, I appreciate that, man. You guys play my music. It's people like you that really help keep the bands out there and support the bands and keep us alive and going, because without you guys, you know, it's really difficult to get it out there. And we appreciate my band, Warren Halverson, Gabriel Anthony, and Mike Stryker. We all appreciate what you guys do, man.
Thanks.
Thank you.
To catch the whole show of Rock and Metal Revival, all you have to do is check it out on these affiliates. Mega Rock Radio's on Saturdays from 11 a.m. Eastern Time, on Rock 101 KLOL on Saturdays 11 p.m. Eastern, on Z-Rock 106.9 KKZR Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and on Uncontrolled Noise Tuesdays at 1 a.m., Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and on Saturday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern on uncontrollednoise.com. And make sure that you leave them a message and tell them that you found Rock and Metal Revival on their stations. Enjoy this edition of Rock and Metal Revival.